Welcome to Slice of Light.
I'm Megan.
Nagendingu Fiks.
And we can't wait to share the next half hour
with you.
Today we're at the Capereceife Lighthouse and Nature Reserve.
Since 1851, this lighthouse has been keeping ships safe around the point of Algoa Bay.
And the Nature Reserve around us offers some of the best bird watching in PE.
Coming up, a personal adventure in art. Medihere in die hoofrol.
Then, Overcofee discusses the question, can I live a good life without attending church?
Xa siwuqoshelise lo mcimbi sincokola noZintle ongumfundi osibalisela ngobumnandi nobunzima kwi-Daily Slice.
Sonia Strumpfer is a leading local artist. Though she has been creating art since childhood, for many years she was in the corporate world. So what made her leave a promising career in communications for art?
Toe ek getroud is, toe sê my man vir my, ek moet die ding doen wat ek die beste doen. En ek het 'n musieklesse geneem en geplonk, plonk, plonk en dit het net nie goed gewerk nie. Sy sê vir my, doen die ding wat jy mee goed is en nog altyd goed was. En kuns is altyd 'n stokperdjie. So het ek net besluit, nou gaan ek dit voltyds doen. So dis nou al die laaste 15 jaar wat ek dit voltyds doen.
What inspires you to paint and what are the influences on your work?
Ja, Megan, baie dinge. Almal sal altyd sê die natuur. Nou definitief ons bly by die see, dis wolke, dis see, dis mooi. So definitief die omgewing, die natuur. Op die oomblik is dit regtig vir my my geloof wat my kuns beïnvloed die sterkste. En so ek wil regtig net God se hand gesien hê in my kunswerke.
I believe you had a dream 30 years ago, which still shapes your work to this day.
Ek het gedroom, ek hardloop op 'n pad. So oral in my kunswerke kan jy 'n pad sien. En baie van hulle noem ek ook the road of the way of so iets of 'n horizon, iets met 'n horison te doen. So ek gedroom ek hardloop op hierdie pad, maar dit was nie net ek nie. Ek het skielik van 'n sypaadjie af ingekom in hierdie groot breë pad en toe hardloop iemand my om. En dis toe nou my man en hy vat my hand en hy sê nee, kom ons moet saam verder hardloop op hierdie pad. En oral langs die kant was daar mense wat gesit het en piknik gehou het en hulle het gesê nee, kom sit hier by ons, kom ons hou piknik, kom saam met ons. Toe sê ek nee, ek moet aangaan, ek moet aanhardloop en daar aan die einde van die pad, daar wink Jesus vir my. So op die horison waar hierdie pad nou geëindig het, was daar 'n lig en ek het net gesê ek moet na daai lig toe hardloop en aanhou, ek moenie ophou nie. En dit is ek probeer dit uitbring in al my kuns want ek voel net dit is my doelwit is om te gaan hardloop volhard, hou aan na die einddoel toe daar waar die lig is, hou aan so en toe hardloop.
Wow. How does your faith influence what you do on a daily basis?
Hugely. Just recently we've been on a tour to Israel and something that I didn't know, because people asked me when I came back, how did that influence your art? I said, no, the one thing that influenced it was the ancient stones that I saw and God's fingerprint on that land. And there's two places specifically that a letter that forms his name is imprinted in the just the geographical land in Jerusalem and another place called Shiloh. So I'm trying to just do that in my art, for people to see the light and God's fingerprint on my life and on my work.
What are your future plans and what would you still like to pursue?
'n Kort termyn is dit die Gramstad se kunstefees en 'n klomp uitstallings wat ek kan deelneem en ek lewer werk aan gallerye. So ek gaan aan met daai goed. So ek gaan net aan met waarmee ek besig is, maar dalk eendag konferensies reël vir kunstenaars.
Sonia is deeply grateful to be using her artistic talents to bring joy to God and her fellow man.
I really feel God's pleasure on my life. Like I'm doing His will and I'm giving Him joy and pleasure by producing my art. So I hope that's the message I get through in my art, and it beautifies people's homes, and I just wish to bring joy into their homes.
Now, when we come back, Over Coffee asks a question which you have probably thought about.
And that would be?
Patience, Megan's son. You'll find out after the break. Ingaba seke wathi uzihlelele ngenye imini wazibuza lo mbuzo. Mna mos ndingumKrestu, ndiyamazi uYesu. Yintoni ke ngoku zandidibanisa nenkonzo? En vandag se Over Coffee klets ons oor die vraag: Can I live a good life without attending church?
Well, the question we've been asked today is a question that many people will find interesting, because I've heard it and you've heard it too. And the question is this: come on, you guys, you Christians, surely I can be a good person without going to church. What do you think of that question?
I think, George, it speaks to a couple of issues. Think, for example, on a Sunday morning, I don't need to go anywhere. I just need to sit in front of my television set and watch many, many programs on TV that speak about spirituality. But also, that question speaks to the relevance of the church today. For somebody who is seeking to live better and to have a positive contribution in life, that question speaks to that. And thirdly, that question speaks to people's priorities. Yeah. People are busy today. They are working very hard. They are going to school. And so any little time they have, they want to spend meaningfully with family and friends. And so they don't want to go out and do extra stuff with the time they have. What do you think, you guys?
Well, very definitely. The world has just created this whole thing of busyness with technology and all of those things that go with it. And I think that the importance of being a good person sometimes gets lost in the technology, because we've got the cell phones, we don't talk to one another.
My sense is, and it's not always true, but people start thinking about church when something's happened that they can't cope with. In my experience, I find people more interested in the church when they're talking about something that has thrown them, confused them, caused them some grief. Where do they go? And then they begin talking about, could the church help me here? Now, I'm not saying for 1 minute that everybody who comes to church has got problems. But I'm just saying that's one door that some people go through to find the church, where they find being a good person is not enough.
Maybe then that should remind us and hopefully help our viewers at home to really go back to the traditional and fundamental beliefs that no man is an island, the need for community, the need to belong, beyond our biological families, beyond our small circle, but to belong to a broader community, a community that will come around us at the hour of grief, as George has said, but also a community that will continuously challenge us about the measure of what we define as a good life. Because what is good life to me as an individual and what is good life for Karen is quite different. But when we come around a community, we are able to put up a community kind of based values and ethics that begins to measure and shape that good life that each person wants to lead.
Sure. I'm also thinking of the person who lives a good life but suddenly senses there's something more to this. Because they look at a world that's divided, they look at a world that's messed up in many ways, they look at creation, which is being messed up in other ways, they look at the troubles around, and they begin to ask, can I make a contribution to that? Can I do something with my life that will make a difference? And when you talk about going to church, you're joining a community that immediately puts before you an invitation. Would you like to follow Jesus and live for his kingdom? As the Lord's Prayer says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is done in heaven. Could they not go deeper then by being brought into a thought that they want to live in such a way in this world that what's in heaven comes down here, so that they begin dealing with some of the major issues. And you can't deal with those major issues on your own. So why do I go to church? It would be not because I want to be good, although that's part of it. I want to live for the kingdom of God. I want to see things in heaven done on earth. So I will try to feed the hungry. I will try to be alongside the abused people of the world, for instance. Now, how can you do that if you're on your own and watching a preacher on television?
But doesn't that remind you of the story from Nicky Gumbel, where he speaks about a sermon where the minister actually said nothing, and he sat with this man who hadn't been going to church for some time, and he visited him, and they sat by the fire, and quietly he bent forward, the minister, and he picked up a coal, a burning coal, and he lay it on the hearth. And they just sat and watched it, and slowly but slowly that coal burnt down into just a grey matter. And then the minister again picked it up and he put it back into the fire, and it just started to glow again. So that comes into what you were saying, George, is how can we do this alone?
I find it interesting that in the book of Hebrews, the unknown author writes to a persecuted church, who is a church that is struggling in every way, a church where people are being killed, and says to them, do not stop meeting together. Even under the situation of persecution, don't stop meeting together. As some are getting into the habit of not meeting together, because there's something significant about community, particularly Christian community.
There is a sense that when we become a part of this community, the body of Christ, we are able to understand that life is not lived in segments, that there is not a Monday face that is different to a Sunday's behavior. But we then understand that what happens on a Sunday will then flow into a Monday. What often happens is that the people who claim to lead a good life, and by this I'm not taking anything away from them, but that happens in patches, in certain intervals, at certain occasions, when there is a charity going on, it comes and goes. But when you belong to this community, you are then charged to lead this life, not only on a Sunday, but it flows throughout your week and ultimately your daily life.
There are some churches that you will go into which might not know what a good life is, other than trying to get everyone saved and into the hoop, and now they go out and ignore all the other problems around us. I mean, when I grew up in Northern Ireland, there were lots of poor people around, but the elders in my church took the kids out with them to give out tracts on how to get saved, and nobody brought any bread. Nobody brought food, because it was their intention to see them saved, even though they were dying of hunger. Whereas if you go into a church which is balanced and aware of this world that Christ died for, I think you can be kept on track regarding what you should be doing. So we come to the end of our discussion, and we hope the viewers have enjoyed listening to it. We want to maybe say two things. First, you will sense that we have not wanted to be condemnatory. There are people who live a good life, we have said, and they don't go to church, and we don't want to condemn that. But we also must be true to what we believe, deeply believe, and that is that if you can come to church and get into a Christian community which cares for Christ and the world and the people in the community, you will grow in a much deeper way, and you will be able to make a much more profound difference to the world in which we live. So we want to finish like that by inviting you. There's a church in every corner, so why don't you try one and see how it works. God bless you.
Stick around for family, faith, and student life when we come back.
En hierdie seisoen van Slice of Light het ons allerhande Christen mense ontmoet. Umaki, umchuchisi, and even a makeup artist.
Now we dial it back a notch as Fiks returns to varsity to meet student Zintle.
Zintle, kudala wabakulewe yaba ngumKristu ne. Nakho chazele ngokubanzi ingaba usi-student ungumntu omtsha ungumKristu zikhona na i-challenges bukhona na bunzima.
Definitely zikhona i-challenges because temptation reqhelekileyo, but siyazi ke 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13 ithi ubana i-temptation yethu iyafana nayo wonke omnye umuntu, but sinikwa amandla kuKristu ubana masikwazi uba ne-endurance, sikwazi ukuphumelela kwezi zinto, and it's all a matter of uzotyisa iflesh yakho okanye you're going to feed the spirit.
Do you find that usi-student bakhe bakudize bakugibisele ngaphandle kuba ke ungumKristu?
Definitely, especially xa kukho i-events ezenzekayo. Back in the day ndandikade ndimenywa, but then ibe ndim uthi hayi andizukwazi kuya. Ngoku andisamenywa at all, and sometimes iba buhlungu loo nto leyo because it's like ndimeme and then ibe ndim uthi uba andifuni ukuya. But sungandimemi kuba izitshomi zam, but ndiyayi-understand uba kutheni beyenza, and it's a good sign, I guess.
Besike sancokola earlier on ne siba besitsho mos kudala ke waba ngumKristu kodwa ke at the age of 14 ikhona lento yenzekayo kwenzeka ntoni?
Okay, so youth pastor at the time introduced a organization called the Scripture Union, and wasixelela uba kuzobakho a camp. So saya ke camp, we didn't know what to expect because it was our first camp here, Scripture Union, and sasingabazi at all abantu. But it turned out to be one of the best camps I've ever attended. I remember this one night, kwakuko sasine praise and worship ebusuku before kuyolalo. Ukazini wam waba nengxaki nomlenze akakwazi uhamba. So siyamthandazela yonke into, and then but akabikho right. So sifonele umama out of panic ubana mama kukho lento. Athi mama, oh okay makabuye. So on their way back, umama had a dream ubana one of the guys that was in the car funeka ibe nguye umthandazelayo. So xa befika endlini wathi mama, no, actually ngene ngabuyanga because funeka athandazelwe ngulo mfana. So la mfana wamthandazela and she could walk again. So the work of the Lord kum yayi visible at that camp, and it's been visible since.
But Zintle endured tragedy when her beloved cousin Ondela, who was only 16, died suddenly.
Wasweleka yena last year, actually, in 2017, on the 3rd of July. Mama wangixelela uba uyagula, une-flu. So I texted her on social media to find out what was going on because behlala eKapa, befunda eKapa. Wathi no uyagula, une-flu. That day, sahlala eSdebsini, and I get a text from a random number I don't know. Xa ndibujonga le text ithi bana inyani uba ukhazi wakho uswelekile. Like, what? This can't be true. So obviously I get hysterical, I'm crying, I'm running down the stairs, ndilandwele itshomi yam. So siye nyani ku Facebook, and nyani wongumuntu bhala rest in peace. So sifonele umama athi, but umuntu ethetha nomama yitshomi yam ayindim. Athi, I don't know what the conversation was on the phone, but ndithi mna ubana ndifuna ukugoduka. So athi yena ubana okay, it's fine goduka, yena uzothi wonke umuntu makagoduke so that bazoze endlini. So xa ndigoduka I drive home, xa ndingene eyadini ndayibona ubana ikho nto wrong kuba mama wazondikhawulela and zange wandikhawulela. Xa ndibe emotweni ndinyuke kwi-fire escape athi inyani. Now siphandle. So I'm crying hysterically. I'm like, Mama, but ndikubuzile the night before uba unjani, wathi wena ubana uright. Njani ke ngoku uba akasekho. Athi naye akayazi, ufumane i-call ekuseni.
And then on the day of the funeral, awunjani wena ngaloo mini?
Zange simbone umzimba. And I was mad after umngcwabo kutheni singamboniswa thina umzimba. But it was a blessing in disguise because abantu abambonileyo bathi bana ayinguye la cousin bamaziyo. And so it was a blessing in the sense that the only image I have of her engqondweni yam is of her healthy, her bubbly.
How did Zintle cope with losing her best friend?
Usoleka kwakhe, it was very hard on umna. But bendingakwazi uthetha ngayo, especially kumama okanye any members of the family yam, because I didn't want to make yonke into ngabo, and they suffered a loss just like I did. So I kept all of my emotion bottled up and I kept it in to myself. And I just, escape yam was the word. It was uthandaza.
Badla ngokuthi ke eyona ndawo inzima for umKristu kusekhayeni ngaba kunjalo for wena kusini na?
Ayoyinyani kum, but I'd understand why other people bangathetha loo nto leyo. Because if mhlawumbi nguwe wedwa umKristu kokwenu and wonke omnye umntu akangumKristu, then that situation could be hard xa funeka ibe nguwe shine a light on everyone else's life. But ukuba mna I was fortunate enough to grow up in a Christian family, I get my strength. I feed off of the quiet times. I feed off of what they get from the word. So it's not hard kum because we all believe in the same thing. We all live the same life. So it's not hard for me.
Throughout ke yonke all this tragedy ebomini bakho, what has kept you going? What's been your inspiration?
My mom. My mom is my biggest inspiration. She is the strongest woman I know. If only I could have just the pieces of strength psyche, I would be a better person. She is so strong. She carries a family yethu on her back effortlessly. Asiyiboni into ayenzayo, but siyamazi usebenza nzima. She's just amazing. Yeah.
Yazi, ndakuncokola nabantu abatsha abafana noZintle. Ndiye ndihlaziyeke ngaphakathi. Ndibe nethemba lekamva laseMzantsi. Indeed, God has got great plans for uZintle.
Oh.
Indon? Sekotuk?
Yep.
Okay. Remember, if you enjoyed today's Over Coffee, you'll find an exclusive extended version on our Facebook page.
And I'm sure they might have their own opinions about attending church.
Asikhulume. Ons bladsy is die perfekte plek om voort te gaan met hierdie gesprek.
What?
Megan, our viewers need strength for the week ahead.
Oh, okay. How about this? Isaiah 40:31. But those who trust in the Lord for their help will find their strength renewed. They will rise up on wings like an eagle. They will run and not get weary. They will walk and not grow weak.
I like it. I like it, Megan-san.
So glad you do. And with that, we'll see you all next week.
Khotso ayate.